In this video, we're going to unbox both the new Xbox Series X and the Series S, and I'm actually going to give away this Series S to one viewer of this video, and I'm going to explain exactly how you can do it. This is Steve from Restalgia, and let's get started. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. As I just said in the video, we are going to do an unboxing of these brand new Microsoft consoles. And we are going to talk a little bit about the major differences between the two. And then finally, I will of course let you guys know exactly how you can win this Series S. Yes, the console that you're going to see in this video will be the one that I ship out to a lucky viewer. So be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video to find out how to enter. Now first, let's go ahead and unbox the Series X. The packaging this comes in is actually quite nice. There are 4 pull tabs that need to be removed before you can open up the box, and you don't need a knife or anything along those lines to get it open. Now Microsoft has obviously put some very serious thought and effort into the unboxing experience that the end user is going to go through. It's actually pretty neat. Now this is the first ever new Xbox product that I've ever purchased, and I have never had an unboxing experience like this from either Nintendo or any of the other Sony products that I've purchased in the past. So I do want to say a huge kudos to Microsoft on this because it was very well done. Now as we open the box, immediately we are hit with the Power Your Dreams branding that's kind of wrapped around the console itself. That's right front and center in the box. Now the presentation in this box is completely surreal, and it really gives you this feeling of excitement as you open it up. Now we're going to go ahead and move the console over for now, and we're just going to take a peek at some of the other items that you get in the box. Now we do get a quick setup and start guide, including instructions on how to download their mobile app, which actually has some pretty cool integration that can be used with the console. We also have a standard power cord, which is actually pretty cool to see because in the past, consoles from Microsoft required its own dedicated power brick, so it's really nice to see that they've finally integrated the power supply directly into the console. We also have a nice long high quality HDMI cord, and finally we have the Xbox controller. Now for a very long time, when people ask me what controller I like the best, I have always felt like Microsoft has developed the nicest controllers around. There isn't really that much comparison that you can make with these and anybody else. These guys are really doing a great job on the controllers, and I often use them for things like PC gaming, Raspberry Pi emulation, or pretty much anytime I need to bring my own controller to do anything. It's usually an Xbox controller. Now I won't talk too much about it, but I will say that the finish on this thing is actually really nice. Now you may not be able to see it that well on camera, but the grips have this micro texture on them that really gives them a solid feel, and it just feels really comfortable in your hands. Moving on to the console itself, this thing has some serious weight to it. Now this thing's actually weighing just under 10 pounds, which is actually pretty heavy, and this thing is really solid. Now we do get this tall, boxy type of look to it, and it kind of reminds me of like a more modern mini PC, but it is very modern and it is very sharp. Obviously with our Series X, we have the physical media tray, which is really good and a huge plus in my books because I am a big supporter of physical media, but there is also a sync button and a USB port on the front. There's not really a whole lot going on the sides, but the back has all of our additional I/O with a power jack, HDMI out, 2 USB 3.1 ports, and an Ethernet port, as well as an expandable hard drive slot as well. Now the device is actually really well done, and when you take a look at the bottom, we have this mounted stand that's there. But if you take a look really closely, it does actually say hello from Seattle, which is pretty cool to see. Now the other thing that's actually pretty interesting and cool is the top of the device. Now obviously this is where our exhaust fan is going to blow the air out of the console, but in all of the commercials and the previews that we've seen, it really did make it look like the console was going to have some sort of green LED lights or something glowing in there, when in reality it's just actually layered plastic. And depending on the angle at which you look at it, it actually gives it kind of a greenish glowing look almost. It's pretty cool the way that they designed this. Now I am going to say sorry guys, the console that you're looking at right now, this one is going to be for me. I will be personally keeping that, but we are going to open up the Series S next. And the Series S is the exact device that I'm going to be giving away. So no, it's not technically brand new, but I am not going to power on the device, and I am going to repackage it to as close to stock as I can, so that way you're still getting the next best thing to a brand new console. Now this is going to be more of the same though. We do have our 3 pull tabs that have to be removed, albeit they did not actually come off as easily as they did on the Series X, but there's nothing really I could do about that. Next, we're going to go ahead and lift the lid up yet again for a very well presented device. We get that Power Your Dreams sleeve covering the console, nice front and center packaging. It's really a really cool experience here. But I will say that the machine here is substantially smaller and much lighter than the Series X. This device only weighs around 4 or so pounds. Now in terms of items included in the box, we do get more of the same. This is going to be more or less the exact same as what we saw with the Series X, and that's going to include obviously our quick start guide, power cord, HDMI cable, and controller. But I will say this about the controller included. Obviously we get a matching controller, and this robot white color is absolutely stunning, and I really prefer this color setup much more than the matte black finish of the Series X, and I think that the black on white color scheme used on both the console and the controller looks really sharp. Taking a look at the console itself, you will see that it is actually really small, and just to show you guys, you can see the scale of the controller directly on top of the device just as a comparison. Microsoft did a really great job fitting all of this technology into such a small device. Now on the back of the console, again, we have our I/O, and it's all the same that we would have had on the Series X, including that expandable memory card slot to get additional storage space. Now stacking the Series X next to the Series S, you can really see there is a major size difference. In terms of the depth, they're both actually the same, but the Series X is a couple of inches taller, but it is a lot wider. Now both of these machines look really good though. Spec wise, the major differences are going to be as follows. On the Series X, you will get a 1 terabyte solid state drive. It has 12 teraflops of processing power bundled with an 8-core AMD Zen 2 CPU that's clocked in at 3.8 GHz. The Series X comes with 16 gigs of GDDR6, and it has a true 4K gaming resolution at 60 frames per second, but depending on the title, it can go upwards to 120 frames per second. And obviously another big differentiating factor here is that it does have a physical media drive in order to play, well, physical media. On the Series S though, you only get 512 gigabytes of solid state drive storage, and I did actually find this is really strange considering this device is a digital only device and you have to download all of your games. So it's really strange that the onboard storage is less on this device than what we're seeing on the physical media console. Now this device only has 4 teraflops of processing power, but it is bundled with a slightly slower 8-core Zen 2 CPU clocking in at 3.6 GHz. Rather than the 16 gigs of RAM that we saw on the Series X, this one has 10 gigs of RAM, and it can render titles at 1440p pushing 60 frames per second, although it can go again up to 120 frames depending on the title itself. Now since this is a digital device, there is absolutely no optical disk drive, but as I mentioned a few times, both devices do have an expansion slot on the back to buy additional storage capacity. Now, like I said, this was for the most part just going to be an unboxing video, but I do plan to do some game live streams moving forward on the channel with these new generation consoles, as well as maybe some old retro games too. So if you are interested in seeing that, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Now overall, these consoles are actually really nice, and I do look forward to spending some time with this Series X just to see how well it compares to the PlayStation type of ecosystem or Nintendo ecosystem that I'm very familiar with. But as promised, let's go ahead and start talking about this Series S giveaway. Now, in the description down below, there's going to be a link to the giveaway page. And you don't necessarily need to subscribe to my channel, although it would be greatly appreciated. But what you will need to do is like my Facebook page, follow me on Twitter, and retweet this video. All of which will actually be done directly on the giveaway page just to make things easy. Once you've completed those tasks, you will be able to put your contact information in and enter the contest. Now I'm going to run the giveaway until November 19th, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, after which I'm going to announce the winner on my community feed, on Twitter, and on Facebook, as well as reaching directly out to the individual by email. But other than that, I don't really have that much else for you guys. Please consider subscribing to the channel, give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, or a thumbs down if you didn't. Good luck in the giveaway, and thank you so very much for watching. I'll talk to you guys again real soon.